Hi, everyone. Welcome to Everyday English with Emma, the podcast that helps you practice listening and learn real English for daily life. I'm Emma, your host, and today we're talking about something many of us love, coffee. So, grab your cup of tea, coffee, or even water, and let's get started. Let me tell you about my morning routine. Every day, I wake up at 6:30 a.m. I wash my face, and then head to the kitchen. My favorite part of the morning is making coffee. I love the smell. I use a small French press, and I always add a little bit of milk. While I drink my coffee, I listen to the news or a podcast, just like you're doing now. This helps me wake up and get ready for the day. What about you? Do you drink coffee or tea in the morning? Or maybe you prefer juice? Think about your routine while you listen. Let's practice some key phrases from this episode. I wake up at 6:30 a.m. I love the smell of coffee. I listen to the news or a podcast. Try saying them with me. I wake up at 6:30 a.m. I love the smell of coffee. I listen to the news or a podcast. Great job. Now, let's do a quick listening quiz. I'll ask 2 questions. See if you remember the answers. What time do I wake up? What drink do I make every morning? The answers are: I wake up at 6:30 a.m. I make coffee every morning. How did you do? Part 2. A morning walk story. Yesterday, I decided to go for a morning walk. The air was cool, and the streets were quiet. As I walked past a bakery, I could smell fresh bread. A woman walked out with a bag full of croissants, and I smiled. I love how peaceful the city feels in the early morning. After my walk, I felt awake, calm, and ready to work. Morning walks are a great way to start the day. Vocabulary. Quiet means there is not much sound. Bakery is a shop that sells bread, cakes, and pastries. Peaceful means calm and without stress. Part 3. A rainy afternoon story. Here's another story for listening practice. Last week, it rained all afternoon. I stayed inside my apartment, made a cup of tea, and read a book. The rain tapped on the windows while I sat on the couch. It felt cozy and warm. Sometimes, I like rainy days because they give me a reason to slow down and relax. Quick quiz. What drink did I make on the rainy day? Where was I sitting? The answers are: I made tea. I was sitting on the couch. Practice time. Repeat after me. Let's practice some phrases together. I love the smell of coffee. The city feels peaceful in the morning. I stayed inside and read a book. Repeat after me. I love the smell of coffee. The city feels peaceful in the morning. I stayed inside and read a book. Great job. Now, I want you to think about your own day. Answer these questions in English, even if you're speaking to yourself. What time do you wake up? What's your favorite drink in the morning? Do you like rainy days or sunny days more? Why? Talking about your own life in English is one of the best ways to improve. Now, I'm going to tell you a story called The Lost Wallet. This story will help you practice listening and learn some new words and phrases. So, relax, listen carefully, and see if you can picture the story in your mind. The story begins. It was a sunny Saturday morning. Alex, a university student, decided to go shopping downtown. He wanted to buy a gift for his sister's birthday. Alex took the bus into the city, bought a cup of coffee, and started walking around. The streets were full of people, tourists, families, and street performers playing music. Everything felt lively and exciting. After an hour of shopping, Alex reached into his pocket to pay for something, but his wallet was gone. The panic. Alex froze. He checked his backpack, his jacket, his jeans, no wallet. He felt his heart race. Where could it be? He thought. He remembered sitting on a park bench earlier to tie his shoe. Maybe he had left it there. Without thinking, Alex ran back to the park. The kind stranger. When he arrived, the bench was empty. His heart sank. But then, he noticed a man holding something. It was Alex's wallet. The man smiled and said, "Are you looking for this?" Alex nodded quickly. "Yes, that's mine. Thank you so much." The man explained that he saw the wallet on the bench and waited, hoping its owner would come back. Alex was so relieved. He offered to buy the man a cup of coffee as a thank you, and they ended up sitting together and talking for almost an hour. Sometimes, losing something can lead to an unexpected friendship. Alex left the city that day without buying his sister's gift, but he felt happy. He had met a kind stranger, and that felt even more valuable. Let's review some key words from the story. Lively, full of life and energy. Sank. In this story, his heart sank, means he suddenly felt very sad or disappointed. Relieved, feeling happy and calm after being worried. Quick questions. Answer these questions in English. What was Alex looking for? Where did he lose it? What did Alex do to thank the stranger? Answers. Alex was looking for his wallet. He lost it on a park bench. He bought the man a cup of coffee. That's the end of today's story. Stories like this are great for practicing English because they're fun to listen to and easy to picture in your mind. I challenge you to retell this story in your own words. Even if your sentences are simple, speaking out loud will help you improve quickly. Part 4. From Failure to First Place. Welcome back to Everyday English with Emma. Today's story is inspiring. It's about a young woman who turned failure into success. The story is called From Failure to First Place. 2 years ago, Mia loved running but wasn't very good at it. In her first school race, she came in last place. She felt embarrassed and almost quit running altogether. But instead of giving up, Mia made a decision. She would train every single day, rain or shine. At first, she could only run for 10 minutes before getting tired. Then, 20 minutes, then 30. Slowly, she got faster and stronger. A year later, Mia entered the same race again. This time, she crossed the finish line first. She couldn't believe it. The same girl who had come last was now a champion. Success doesn't come overnight. It comes from small steps, taken every day. Mia's story shows that determination is more powerful than talent. Let's review some key words. Quit. To stop doing something. Rain or shine, no matter what happens, in any weather. Determination, the decision to keep trying, even when it's hard. Quick questions. What happened to Mia in her first race? What did she do after losing? How did the second race end? The answers are, she came in last place. She trained every day. She finished in first place. I hope this story inspires you to keep working on your English, or anything else you want to achieve. Are you ready for a funny story? This one is called The Wrong Classroom. Last year, I started a new cooking class. It was my first day, and I was excited to learn how to bake bread. I arrived at the building early, found room 204, and sat down. The teacher smiled at me and said, "Welcome." But as the class started, I noticed something strange. People were taking out paintbrushes. The teacher said, "Today, we'll learn watercolor techniques." I was in the wrong class. Everyone laughed when I stood up, apologized, and quietly left the room. I finally found the cooking class down the hall. The best part, I made 2 new friends that day. One from the art class, and one from the cooking class. Sometimes embarrassing moments turn into great memories. Mistakes can make life fun. Let's practice some phrases. Something strange, something that feels unusual. Quietly left the room, to leave without making noise. Embarrassing moments, times when you feel shy or uncomfortable. Quick questions. What class did Emma think she was going to? What class did she actually sit in? What happened because of this mistake? The answers are, a cooking class, an art class. She made 2 new friends. Remember, making mistakes, whether in life or learning English, can actually help you grow. Mystery story. Listen carefully, try to imagine the scene, and see if you can solve the mystery before I reveal the ending. The mystery begins. One rainy evening, Sarah came home from work. She put her bag down, turned on the lights, and froze. Her bedroom door was locked, from the inside. Sarah lived alone. She never locked that door. She knocked softly. "Hello, is someone there?" No answer. Her heart raced. She grabbed her phone to call her neighbor, Mr. Lee. He rushed over, holding a spare key. When they opened the door, the room was empty. Nothing was missing. The window was closed. The closet was empty. Everything was normal, except for one thing. On Sarah's desk was a small envelope. Inside was a single note: "You should lock your doors more often." The reveal: the mystery was never solved. The police found no fingerprints, no signs of a break-in, nothing. But Sarah learned something that night: safety matters. Now, she double-checks her locks every evening. Creepy, right? Here are some useful words. Frozen. Stopped moving because of fear or surprise. Spare key. An extra key you keep for emergencies. Break in. When someone enters a place illegally. Headphone quick quiz. What was strange about Sarah's bedroom door? What was inside the envelope? Was anything stolen? The answers are: it was locked from the inside. A note that said, "You should lock your doors more often." No, nothing was stolen. What do you think happened? Mystery stories are fun because you get to imagine your own ending. Next story is a fun travel adventure. This one is called Lost in Tokyo. The adventure. Last summer, Daniel visited Tokyo for the first time. He was excited to explore the city and try Japanese food. On his first day, he decided to take the train to Shinjuku, a busy area full of shops and restaurants. But Daniel couldn't read the signs. The train system was huge, and soon he was completely lost. He stepped off at a random station and found himself in a quiet neighborhood far from the city center. At first, he panicked. But then, he noticed a small ramen shop with a friendly owner. Even though they didn't speak the same language, the owner helped him find his way back using a map and even gave him a free bowl of ramen. Getting lost turned into one of Daniel's favorite memories. Sometimes, adventures happen when things don't go as planned. Here are some key words. Station. A place where trains stop. Neighborhood. A small area or community in a city. Ramen. A Japanese noodle soup. Quick quiz. Where was Daniel visiting? What problem did he have? What did the shop owner give him? The answers are: Tokyo. He got lost on the train system. A free bowl of ramen and help with directions. That's the magic of travel. Unexpected kindness, new food, and great memories. That's it for today's episode. Remember, making mistakes, whether in life or learning English, can actually help you grow. Thanks for listening to Everyday English with Emma. Don't forget to subscribe, share this episode with a friend, and practice a little every day. See you in the next episode. Hi, I'm Emma, and I'm so excited to welcome you to Gain Insight.
And I'm Alex, your co-host on this journey through words and imagination.
Welcome to Gain Insight, the podcast where stories become worlds you can step into.
Each episode takes you beyond language lessons into adventures, mysteries, and unforgettable moments.
Whether you're learning English or just love great storytelling, these tales are crafted to pull you in.
So sit back, relax, and let's dive into a world of imagination.
This is Gain Insight, where every story is a journey. Story 1. The Lighthouse That Remembered Names. Welcome listeners, tonight I'm taking you to a lonely cliffside, where a lighthouse stands guard over the restless sea. It's been there for over a century, lighting the way for ships through storms and fog. My job was simple: inspect it, fix it, and go home. But as I stepped into the lighthouse that night, I knew this was no ordinary assignment. The heavy iron door creaked open on its own as if it had been expecting me. Inside, the air smelled of sea salt and rust, and dust swirled in the lantern light. I climbed the narrow staircase, each step groaning under my weight. Halfway up, I froze. Someone had whispered my name. I spun around, but I was alone. At the top, the lantern glowed brighter than I'd ever seen, bathing me in golden light. Suddenly, flashes of memories I'd never lived filled my mind. Storms, rescues, sailors crying out for help. The lighthouse spoke, its voice low but clear. Emma. It showed me a vision. A young woman on a rocky shore, a woman who looked exactly like me. Your grandmother, it whispered. My heart pounded as I realized this lighthouse had saved her life long ago. I whispered, "Thank you," tears stinging my eyes. The light flickered gently, like it was smiling. From that night on, I visited every week, speaking to the lighthouse as if it were family. And every time I left, its beam followed me home, whispering my name. That lighthouse doesn't just guide ships, It remembers souls.
Story 2, The Man Who Collected Shadows. Tonight's story takes us down a dimly lit alley, where lamplight flickers and shadows stretch like whispers. I met him there, a man with a black satchel, standing perfectly still under a broken streetlight. "Care to sell your shadow?" he asked. I laughed nervously, but his eyes were serious. He opened his satchel, revealing dozens of tiny glass bottles glowing faintly. Inside them were shadows, writhing like smoke. "Why would anyone sell their shadow?" I asked. "Because it carries your fears," he said softly. "Let me take your pain." The idea of being fearless was tempting. Against my better judgment, I agreed. He knelt, touched my ankle with a silver needle, and I felt a chill. My shadow peeled off the ground like smoke, twisting as he trapped it in a bottle. I felt light, free, invincible. Days passed, and I walked the world without fear. But soon, people stared at me with unease. My reflection was faint, almost see-through. I went back to the alley, desperate. "I want it back," I begged. He shook his head. "Once bottled, it's no longer yours. Now I walk the streets at night, casting no shadow. And sometimes, in my dreams, I see it, trapped, watching me from behind glass." Listeners, some trades are not worth making.
Story 3, The City of Glass Bridges. Imagine a city where every bridge is made of crystal clear glass. From above, it looks like a spiderweb of light over turquoise rivers. The moment I arrived, I felt like I was walking on air. People strolled gracefully, their reflections dancing beneath their feet. But beauty can be deceiving. Locals whispered of a curse. Look down too long, and the bridge will crack. I laughed at the superstition, until I saw memorials etched into the railings. That night, I stayed in a small inn, unable to shake the feeling of being watched. The next day, I ventured onto the city's largest bridge. Halfway across, I glanced down. The water below seemed impossibly deep, swirling like a whirlpool of shadows. Then came the sound of cracking ice. My heart pounded as fractures spread beneath my feet. I ran, footsteps echoing like thunder. Just as the glass shattered, I leapt to safety. Breathless, I looked back, and the bridge was perfect again, like nothing had happened. Locals only shook their heads. "The city chooses," one told me. I left the next morning, never daring to look down again. And I never will.
Story 4, The Watchmaker of Forgotten Hours. There's a narrow alley in my city that people swear doesn't exist. At its end is a shop with a sign that reads, "The Watchmaker of Forgotten Hours." Inside, clocks tick in every direction, forward, backward, and sideways. The watchmaker, an old man with silver-rimmed glasses, looked at me and smiled. "What hour do you wish to erase?" he asked. I froze, unsure what he meant. He showed me a golden pocket watch. "Every person has 1 hour they'd rather forget," he said softly. An image of a car crash from years ago flooded my mind. My hands trembled. "You can take it away?" I asked. He nodded, winding the watch. The memory rewound itself before my eyes, then vanished completely. For a moment, I felt lighter, free of pain. But days later, I realized other memories were fading too. I rushed back to the shop, desperate to undo it. But the alley was gone. Now, I smile without knowing why, haunted by a sadness I can't remember. Listeners, some hours should never be forgotten.
Story 5, The Train That Didn't Stop. It was midnight when I boarded the old train, a last-minute ticket to nowhere. The station was empty, eerily silent except for the hum of fluorescent lights. The train's windows glowed faintly, but no one else was aboard. As soon as I sat down, the doors shut without a sound. The train pulled away, faster than any train I'd ever ridden. I looked out the window, but the scenery was nothing but streaks of grey. There were no stops, no announcements, just endless motion. I tried to get the conductor's attention, but there was none. Hours passed, or maybe minutes. I couldn't tell. Finally, I saw something outside. A reflection of myself staring back at me. But it wasn't me. She was older, with eyes full of sorrow, and she mouthed 2 words, "Get off." Panic surged through me. I yanked at the emergency lever, and the train screeched to a halt in total darkness. The doors opened into a dense forest. I stepped off, heart pounding, and turned back to look at the train. It was gone. Only tracks remained, stretching into an empty horizon. I still don't know where I was that night. But I do know one thing: I'll never ride a midnight train again.
Story 6, The Photographer Who Stole Faces. I met him in a crowded marketplace, an old man with a camera older than time itself. He didn't sell his photos, he gave them away for free. People lined up eagerly, smiling as he snapped their portraits. When it was my turn, he raised the camera and whispered, "Hold still." The flash felt like lightning striking my soul. I blinked, dizzy, and when I turned to thank him, he was gone. Later that night, I looked in the mirror. My reflection was blank. No eyes, no mouth, just a pale, faceless shape. I panicked, racing back to the marketplace. The old man was there, handing out photos to strangers. I saw mine, my smiling face, clutched in a child's hands. "Give it back," I shouted. The old man shook his head. "Faces are stories," he said. "And some stories don't belong to you anymore." Since that night, I wear scarves and sunglasses, hiding my empty reflection. But I know somewhere, my face is out there, smiling for someone else.
Story 7, The Hotel That Didn't Exist. After a long drive through pouring rain, I stumbled upon a glowing neon sign, "Vacancy." The hotel stood alone, its windows glowing warmly against the storm. The clerk at the front desk smiled too perfectly, handing me a brass key. I climbed the creaking stairs, eager for rest. The hallway smelled faintly of lavender and dust. My room was cozy, with antique furniture and a roaring fireplace. I sank into bed, comforted by the sound of rain on the roof. When I woke, the sun was shining. I packed my bags, thanked the clerk, and drove away. But hours later, when I tried to return to the same road, the hotel was gone. Not abandoned, not destroyed, gone. Locals swore no such hotel existed. I checked my pocket, and the brass key was still there. That night, I slept in my car, clutching the key tightly. Sometimes, when I close my eyes, I smell lavender and hear rain on a roof that isn't there.
Story 8, The Violin That Played Memories. I found it in a dusty pawn shop, tucked behind old books and cracked picture frames. The violin was beautiful, polished like sunlight, strings shimmering with age. The shopkeeper warned me, "It plays more than music." I laughed, thinking it was a sales trick. That night, I played a single note. A memory bloomed in front of me, my childhood dog running through tall grass. I froze, bow trembling in my hands. I played another note, and there was my mother, singing softly in the kitchen. I played faster, crying as every memory I had came to life around me. But then, I made a mistake. I played a melody I didn't know. And I saw a future I hadn't lived yet. Me, standing alone in an empty room, crying over an unmarked grave. I dropped the violin, heart racing. The music stopped. The vision faded. I returned it to the pawn shop the next day. But every time I pass that street, I hear faint notes following me.